Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Michael Rollins Show. My name is Michael Rollins, which is about as fast as I can say it. I interview people in the FPV industry, and right now we are looking at the history of FPV. In light of that, we're talking to Chad Nowak. This is the fourth and final episode with Chad, and in this one, we talk about Charpu. Charpu is pivotal and fundamental to FPV. But what was interesting is Chad really distilled it down to the way that he looked at things, the way that he looked at filming, the way that he looked at flying. It was pretty pivotal to how everybody started to think about FPV. And in fact, you could probably trace all of the current commercial work in terms of, people filming for commercials and things like that directly to Charpu because of the influence that he had on this hobby. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I'll definitely catch you on the flip side. If you like what I do, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really does help out the channel. And on top of that, if you really like what I do, go join my Patreon. Patrons get early access to all interviews. They get the unedited, uncut interview, as well as a podcast version that is unedited and uncut. I hope that you guys enjoy this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
And from the beginning of this channel, everybody said, please interview Charpu. And I do understand that, and obviously would love to interview him. He is 100% part of history. What was it like to watch what he did at that time?
So I'll start with saying I've said this to you in private. I'm glad to be wrong, but for all the listeners out there, and I hope that he does this just to spite me. Maybe that's why I'm saying this, but as I've always said, you won't get Carlos. He's got his own life. He's moved on, and I've spoken to him outside of this. And he's happy, and he's one of the true. Like I've always sort of said, I've never really been interested in fame or that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone gets caught up into it. Yeah. Carlos is one of those people who truly never wanted fame, never will want fame, and wants to do his own thing. And more power to the guy. I got a ton of respect for him. That the fact that he could walk away at that point in time. A lot of respect there. But watching Carlos, especially as part of the Rotor Riot group. What I always used to say that Carlos would be dead quiet and in the background and not moving, and you wouldn't even notice him there for 90% of the time. Yeah. 10% of the time he'll pipe up and say something, and that 10% is absolute fucking gold. So I'm like saying to Chad Capper, I'm going like, don't care what you film. Just make sure you have that fucking camera running when Carlos says something, because that's the episode right there. Yeah. It only needs to be 30 seconds long. That's the episode. You're going to get 100,000 views out of that right there. He's just, it's very interesting because such as an introverted, awkward kind of guy, but such a lovable guy. I want to say talented. Talented is not the word. I'm not going to say he was the world's best pilot, because he wasn't. But once again, I think it was like what we were talking about with the way they edited videos. There was a combination of things there that just worked with him, and he was there similar to people like myself. There at the right time when there was a lot of new unexplored.
He was a first mover.
Yeah. I'm sure there is a lot of other Carloses out there in the FPV community. They just didn't turn up at the time that Carlos did. And this is what I say, all the pilots that these big pilots you were interviewing, including myself. Okay, yeah, there was some skill there, but there was also, we happened to be turning up at the right time. Right. And same goes for Carlos. turned up at the right time and just made the most of that sort of like, well, I landed here. Okay, cool. I better start running. Hey, look, I've been meaning to run. Look, and everyone's going, look at him. He's running. Like, well, yeah, I just happened to be the first person running. So, but yeah, a lot of respect for him. And it's funny when I watch the movies that he's worked, the DreamWorks movies that he's worked on in the animation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the parts in the video movies where he's been actually intimately involved, because I'm just sort of like, that's a Carlos joke right there. I know that's I'm feeling that Carlos vibe right there.
Yeah.
Because like once you sort of hang around someone for a while, you get to know them, and it's sort of like, that character reminds me of Carlos. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
What do you because everybody, like, for the folks that were around when he started making YouTube videos, everybody talks about this sense of just having your mind blown. What were the things that he would do back then? Because one of the things you mentioned just a minute ago was like, oh yeah, well, if of course Carlos mentioned I did a great job, I was always happy. What was it that spurred that? And I don't even know. It's not devotion. It's not idolization, but like everybody just really holds him very, very high.
Yeah. Well, it was a combination of he had the skills to cinematically put something down on a videotape, which a lot of us didn't have at the time. So you think about a lot of the people, like I've always enjoyed a bit of videography, but never really it was only when I got into quads where I started doing it a lot. Yeah. And then you look at people like Tommy and Steele and sort of stuff, and forgive me if I'm wrong for any of these guys, but most of these guys before this point in time probably didn't know shit about editing. So when we first started looking at these guys, they learnt their trade and slowly got better and better at it. So Carlos already had that ability for editing, but also the flair of cinematography because of the industry that he's in. So he was able to use the skills that he had as a pilot to show stuff in the early hobbyist community where we would just get the raw footage and then put it on a website with a shitty microphone and like a keychain camera and go.
Yeah.
Where Carlos would just put the flair to it. So that would really help that there. But also on top of that, he was never really a talented sort of like builder or tuner on sort of stuff. He didn't really know any of that sort of stuff. We were always helping him out with it.
Boris mentioned that. He said always, I'd get messages from Charpu all the time, be like, hey man, what do I do here?
Yeah. But Carlos was your typical hobbyist that liked to try stuff. Mm-hmm. Let's just do this with the sticks and see what happens. And he was able to find there was a number of small pilots, pilots out there that that did that. So there was two that I classed as the pilots that would, rather than just fly straight and level, start doing tricks. There was Carlos, and there was another Australian pilot, and I'm good friends with him, but I can't remember his YouTube channel. I've been so long.
It wasn't Snake, was it?
No, this is long before Snake was
long before
flying.
Snake. Okay.
Yeah. One of the guys in our group, and I'm very sorry, but I cannot. Once again, at 12 o'clock, it'll come to me. Yeah. It's what about 7 o'clock? It's 8 o'clock now.
It's 8 o'clock here.
I should be able to remember this. Yeah. But there were two pilots out there where. And this other guy actually did stuff before Carlos did. And I was watching him live doing all this sort of stuff. And everyone else would then sort of like copy.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, it was literally just a case of fly straight and level, don't crash into things, and occasionally do a roll. Mm-hmm. That was kind of it. And then you had some guys out there doing some unusual things. Now, the one that I remember from Carlos that always sticks in my head is your flick. So roll and yaw together, combined with a bit of camera tilt, makes the quad look like it's got really, really snappy yaw. Now, this is in the days where we didn't have big motors. We only had 2-blade gem fan props. So yaw authority was fucking terrible. And we didn't have regenerative braking. So the thing would jump up in the air every time you gave it aggressive yaw. So our yaw authority was terrible. And I remember seeing a video, one of the his early, very popular videos, where he did a yaw flick, and I was having an argument with the group going, he's like sped that up, he's faked that. Like, I've lost a lot of respect for him, blah, 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 blah. And when I found out that he hadn't, that's when I learned to really respect, keep your opinions to yourself until you really know what's going on. Because I felt like shit. Because like I never said it to him. I actually said it to him years later. I said, "Man, I thought you were the biggest fucking cheat." And I was arguing with my friends and that sort of stuff. And it made me feel like a low life, sort of like when all he was doing was a yaw flick. No one knew what that was. And I eventually worked out what it was and started going, okay, that's a yaw flick. That's what that is. So it was little things like that that would add flair to what the camera would see. At the end of the day, it's not about how well you can fly the aircraft. It's how well you can move the camera around to gain the footage. An FPV quad with a camera on it is literally just a tripod in the sky with more freedom of movement than you would with a regular camera. So how are you going to move that camera to get that shot? And the best way I like to put that is you watch someone do an FPV flight through the camera, then watch the same flight watching the drone. Yeah. The flight looks really boring watching the drone, but through the camera, it's a completely different area. And Carlos was very good at understanding the cinematic ramifications of doing this with the sticks that would then get that really nice shot, and then being able to edit together in something that you really felt something. And then combine that with the fact that he was just a really nice, down-to-earth guy. I think that's where a lot of the respect came from. The respect started because he was a good pilot, a good cinematographer, and a good editor, and the fact that he stayed grounded and he wasn't an asshole. And I think the ultimate respect was he was able to just walk away and go, you know what, I'm done. A lot of respect there. There's a lot of people that are like, you know what, guys, I'm going. I'm letting you know that I'm going. Yeah. Is that everyone heard that? Like, did you down the back? Did you hear that? I'm going. I just want to let you know, and I'm never going to say anything again. So get a piece of paper, write this down. I want you to write this down that I'm going, and I'm never coming back again. You all heard that, right? That's normally what people do. Carlos was never angry. He never left in an angry mood, but he's just like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And there's a lot of respect for that.
I remember, when I was younger and, I wanted to be a musician and, I still play guitar, I still sing and whatnot. But my dad, one time I had written this song and my dad listened to it and he was like, yeah, that's good. You should make it shorter. I was like, shorter? Why? Because I was like, this is amazing, man. It's like 6 minutes of feeling. And he goes, yeah, cut it in half and it'll be a better song. And I was like, but does it get boring? He's like, well, no, it satisfies people. I was like, what are you even talking about right now, dude? And eventually he taught me that it is better to walk away early and leave everybody wanting more than to walk away a little bit too late and have everybody be like, good riddance.
I learned that with all the products and so forth. When you're making a product and you're trying to advertise a product or get interest in a product, a lot of people go, look, I've got this product here. This is the product here. Have a look at this product. And it's great. And it's painted red. And it goes really fast. Trust me. Look at the reviews. Blah, 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 blah. Where I learned I'm just going to talk here and I'm going to put the product here. Right. And I'm not going to talk about the product. Yeah. I'm going to wait for people to ask about the product because it's up there. And people knew after a while, it's like I would never show them the product. It would be in the background somewhere and I'd be talking about something completely different. And people, I just love it. I'd read the comments sort of like, what's that in the background? Like, You just say nothing, and then all of a sudden there's a whole conversation going on about it.
Yeah, that is very true, and it's always fun. I do enjoy that kind of a game where it's almost like pixel peeping, where all of a sudden you're looking at this video and you're moving frame by frame by frame by frame, going, okay, what is that? What is that? Okay, I see an arm. That's a weird arm. What is that motor? What is that motor?
I'm seeing a Trojan horse. So.
Yeah, well, don't tell him that the drone's going to fly out of it soon. Yeah, well, dude, thank you very much. This has been a great look through your eyes at the history that you lived through. And I think one of the things I've taken away from this is that, certainly the guys of your generation were all good pilots, and the videos that all of you put out and the acclaim that all of you ended up with are a testament to the fact that you are good pilots. But you had to be well-rounded as you walked to the table. It wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just about the piloting. And like hearing you say, like, when you won the Nationals unofficial world drone racing, what was the secret, Chad? Oh, you just had to get to the finish. Right? Where it's like, oh, wow, that's less dramatic than I thought it was going to be.
Well, the interesting thing, the way that I always look at it is, you go back at those older days, like RC groups. Mm-hmm. No one was doing it to be famous.
Yeah.
No one was doing it so that they could make a lot of money, because that wasn't even on the cards. Mm-hmm. It was just a bunch of nerdy hobbyists in a park doing cool stuff. Hey, look, I made a thing. That's awesome. Hey, I got your thing, and I did a thing with your thing. That's really cool. How can we make that thing with the thing, like combine it to? How about we work together as a group and we make it better again? That's what it was about. And there was no sort of like, well, I'm going to do this so that I can be the world champion, or I'm going to get more views than you, or I'm going to make a big business. It was just, even the people that were had a business. It was a business in their garage where they were just basically just supplying it, because they made a PCB, and they're like, hey guys, it's not much extra to make another 100. Who wants some? And okay, cool. Well, I'll keep on making for people who want it. And it was just an interest where I think, while that's not the case these days, the scope has changed these days, where there is fame and there is perceived fortune, and there's potential ego involved and so forth. And that's the biggest difference between then and today. And I think that's what a lot of the OG pilots miss the most, just being able to go back where there was none of that bullshit. It was just nerds in a park having fun.
Mm-hmm. If only we could have simpler days.
Well, we still can. We
still can.
A lot of us OGs have actually just gone to back to being nerds in a park.
And honestly, there's a joy and a simpleness to that I appreciate.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have been riding around with the inimitable. Is that the right word? Inimitable. That is a word. Chad Nowak, aka Finalglideaus. What'd you say?
It sounds about right.
It's inimitable.
Too big. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. Maybe it doesn't mean what I think.
Hey
it
Siri,
means.
What's inimitable?
Hold on, I'll ask my Siri. Hold on. Hey Siri, what does inimitable mean? So good or unusual to be impossible to copy. Unique. Yes, you are inimitable. I knew it fit, damn it. I knew it did.
I'll take it, I guess. I've learned my new word for the day.
There you go. The one and only, the inimitable Finalglideaus, aka Chad Nowak. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming along, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Ciao.
So that's it. That is the end of Chad Nowak's walk through history. Chad's one of my heroes, right? And it is really honestly such an honor and a privilege to be able to talk to him. And the best part of that is that he would look at me and tell me that was a bunch of BS, because Chad's just really a regular guy. And most everybody that I've talked to is just a regular person. It's been wonderful and fun to be able to go through this series, and I do hope that you all will continue to come along with me as we go further. Should be ramping up the interviews for the next tranche of videos, and I think that you guys are going to enjoy some of the folks that I have on tap. If you like what I do, hit like, subscribe, comment. That really does help the channel. And if you really like what I do, then join my Patreon. Patrons get early access to all of the interviews uncut. As well, they get a podcast version. And for instance, they should all have access to the Joshua Bardwell interview that's coming up next. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.